Hello, welcome, one and all, to a slightly stupid 12-year-old's guide to everything stats in Arcane Odyssey. Before we begin, I have a few words for you guys. Number one, I want to start uploading again for a multitude of reasons, because I'm less busy, but I can't make any promises of consistency or what I'll be uploading. And, two, I have some obligatory credit I have to put in here. I think his name is Noon, I guess. The channel will be on screen and I'll link it in description. He's a great YouTuber. If somehow you're seeing me but you haven't seen him before, go check him out, go sub to him. And I'm taking two of his builds as examples because I think they're actually really great examples of like proper build making. Yeah. So, reworks. A few things have been reworked in the full release, such as attack speed, which has been converted to casting speed, which affects the startup, like charge time, stuff like that, and end lag, and then range, which, affects range and projectile speed. There's also haste, which decreases attack cooldowns, and agility has been put on to gems, which I'll speak a little bit on later on in the video, but there's a much better guide by RC Plays, which again I'll link him in the description if you want an in-depth guide on how to like use jewels in the new update, how to fuse stuff. Go check him out. And yeah, that's about it for the reworks. Modifiers. Simple in theory, yet possibly confusing in practice. They give simple stat boosts most of the time, ranging from things such as power and defense to more confusing things such as range or haste. Or a mix of the two, such as drown, which gives size and defense. So I've been told. This is coming from the wiki, so I'm not quite sure. But there are three that stand out among the rest, being imbued, gilded, and Atlantean. Imbued, the one I could find the least info on while doing research. It can only be obtained from treasure charts on Sky Islands, supposedly. Not quite sure. However, it gives the most unclear benefits as well. It only gives a boost to stats, or so the wiki says. It could be a boost to a specific stat or a boost to general stats, and I would have no clue. Hopefully by the time this video is out, I'll be able to go back and see, and if so, it'll be on the screen right now for you. Then there's gilded, the hardest to obtain, but also debatably the best or worst of the three, as it will give you an extra gem slot, and that can be great for tanky builds that use Painites, because that's a straight up 230 defense boost, which is just absurd from your modifier. Or it could be the worst thing, right? It's just straight up worse than blasted if you're going for power. However, it could be a mix if you're going for something like size. I'm not sure if it's the best, or I'm not sure if it's better than like archaic or round, really. And then we have Atlantean. Atlantean is by far the most confusing, and I had to do a good bit of research for this video on it, because I just wasn't quite getting it. And now it seems actually really simple. What Atlantean does is, of course, it provides one insanity, and it's the only modifier that you get to choose to put onto gear. So I think that's really interesting, and it can also be removed by using not warding, virtuous scroll on the piece of armor, but that's not really important. So it provides one insanity and one stat that the piece of armor doesn't have when it's applied, and you can actually cycle this by using gems, which I'll talk about later. But the stats that are applied in this order are 13 power, 116 defense, 38 size, 38 dexterity, 38 range, or 38 haste. Which, and if you have all of them, it'll cycle back and give you power. Now, I'm not quite sure if, like, sarcophagus or whatever they're called, however you pronounce it, which will be on screen now, armor's negative defense affects this. However, I'm not sure. I think it doesn't. I think you still have to get it from a gem. But this is the best and only modifier that can have a multitude of stat provisions this great. So, yeah. Enchants. The second most important upgrade to any piece of gear or weapon, or I guess, like, ship part. And there are two tiers. Basic, which are simple in nature, just stat boosts, such as a boost to damage from something like strong, or a boost to defense from something like hard, or a boost to size from something like large. And then there's unique enchants, which, in the case of armor, are, well, just better stat boosts, such as powerful, or armored, or explosive. But for weapons, they are all trade-offs, being ardent, tempered, and dense. Ardent gives reduced damage, but highly increased speed. Dense gives highly increased size, but highly decreased speed. And tempered gives highly increased damage, but highly decreased size. So, they're all trade-offs, and it's really up to you. And plenty of people will even just have a weapon that doesn't use it. So they can just have, well, base stats for something like Kai Saber. Some people will use bursting or large on Kai Saber and not put a unique enchant on it. And for, like, ship parts, there's, like, the basic ones, and there's warship and enhanced, I think. Sorry. Warship is, like, big stat boosts, and enhanced is just, like, stuff for cannons. And yeah, I feel kind of obligated to cover that just because a guide to everything stats has to be a guide to everything stats. And fishing rods are, like, the meta's, like, ensnaring or magnetic, because those are, like, item chance or fishing speed. However, I think you guys could have figured that out on your own, but, like, kind of feel obligated to cover that. As for character stats and, like, stat builds, I'll always recommend weapons, but that's just what I play, so it's preference. And I can't really make any input on Oracle, unfortunately, because I've, well, never played it. Now, for, let's just say Mage. The meta spells seem to be Beam, Blast, and, like, Annihilation, I heard is really good. I heard Explosion's also decent, but, like, Placed is mainly the meta. And Forward Leap is the meta for leaps, but you should always run at least one of those, I know that. Flight is good, Aura is always going to be good, and Enchantment is good for, like, ganks, I think. And that's really what I can say. For Blast, though, I'd say pick a size that fits your playstyle. If you don't have the best aim, maybe go bigger. But that's, again, preference. And then for Beam, if you're playing, like, Conjure, Beam is really important, I think, because it's, like, it's kind of fast, and depending on your magic, your Conjure magic, it can be really good. Like, for Crystal Conjurer, last time I played it, at least, I used a triple beam, because I could apply Crystallized, and then smack them once with my weapon, and just break every time. And maybe that's been changed now, but I remember doing that for a while. So it was like a thing I would use to instantly keybind and just boom, and get that damage boost and stuff. As for fighting styles, the meta is again subjective, I think, but Berserker, I'd never recommend Berserker. So this is mainly talking for warlords, I should clarify, or like warlocks. And then I think the meta is still remaining to be what's it called? Like Sailor style, and then like Thermal Fist is good. I haven't really tried Power Fist because I literally just unlocked on my main slot. But I think it's good. Vanishing style seems like it could be interesting for some builds, but I don't think it'd be like your main one. And boxing is good if you want some more speed or something. But like, I'm not even sure if they're really worth using right now, outside of like Warlock and Warlord. So I think it's really subjective, like if you're even using the fighting style. Oh yeah, Iron Leg's good. But if you're even using the fighting style to use the fighting style and not just for the imbue, I think it's really up to you. What do you prefer? Right? Because, yeah, that's really about what it is, I'd say, from my point of view. I never really use the fighting style for the fighting style. Sometimes I use the moves, but it's mostly just for the imbue. So, yeah. I'm not sure if even, like, rare spells are even worth it. Onto weapons, I can actually... This is the field I specialize in as I main warrior. And, like, conj and stuff. And I'll always recommend... Some of the things I'll always recommend are, Sparrow Thrust and Piercing Gale, two of the most overpowered skills in the game. And then I'll also say some sort of TP skill, whether it be like dual mirrored stream or whatever, right? The variation of Sword Draw Flash Strike, well, Sword Draw Flash Strike. And now with like Dragon Ascent, I'd say Sunkens aren't even meta. That's a quick note. I don't think Sunkens are even like the meta anymore unless you really love Rising Tide, because of like Dragon Ascent or whatever, Sword Draw Dragon Ascent, I think it's called. Then like you can run Tempest if you're running Greatsword. I'd say Greatsword is like, in my opinion, the best thing to run currently. Right, Atlantean or Sinbane. Sinbane is so good, but it's kind of annoying to get. But you can run like Sword Step, Tempest. Tempest isn't the best. You can run Devastate. That's the main reason I'd run Greatsword, is because you can get Devastate and Ascent and a TP, and it's just like really good. And then I'd say, actually, I was gonna say use a staff, but now staffs are like mid because they don't apply bleed. So I'd say actually run either, like, Triaster of Bronze is decent, and Sunken's okay, but I'd say Rapiers, like Atlantean Rapier, are better because of Piercing Strike, so you get a kind of a grab move, and with Atlantean you get I forgot what it's called, it'll be up on screen, but you can like launch yourself higher into the air, and you get bleed, and you get Spell Thrust and Piercing Gale. So that's what I would say is the best. And then you can run, if you're not tanky and you think that's enough, and I've tried this out, you can run like a Spike Tower Great Shield with the enchant that gives you HP off of it. That's okay. But I'd say guns are much better use, or like running something like the Sidera's, the thing you get from the final boss currently. Like the 2 axes, those are good. But I'd say guns are like really good right now because you can do easily with Piercing Shot. You can definitely hit nearly 1,000 damage, like 800 damage on one fully charged Piercing Shot, which won't happen a lot of the times in combat. But if you're trying to jump someone in Overworld, then it can be like a free, like put them down nearly half their HP or something, or like a third of their HP right off rip. Or with like the Plunderers, you can easily deal with the shot beret, or like the multi-shot thing, the thing that shoots 4 bullets at once. With a fully charged one of those, you can easily do nearly 1,000 or over 1,000 with today's power level. So I don't think it's hard to abuse guns. I think I have an idea for a build that's like all guns and just could shred someone down near instantly. However, I haven't gotten the time to test it out yet, so stay tuned for that build, I guess. But yeah, I'd say that's probably the weapon meta. And yeah, that's about it for weapons and like character stats. The real kind of meat of this video, I'd kind of want to make a mention on like status effect imbues and stuff, like general imbues and stuff like greases. So for Conjure, acid is not it, but sand is really good. Also, I've heard. If you want to run like speed, then there's like shadow, wind, plasma, and light. Poison is like technically the best for damage. However, it only happens and becomes good after a long time of DOT. Like I think it's like 5 or 6 seconds. But for impact damage, you're going want to go with like metal, earth, sand, wood, or ice. I think. I'm not sure about ice. I think that actually might be wrong. It might just be for stun conj. But yeah, and this is like all conjure stuff. For size, it's like earth, metal, and magma. So that really only affects conjurer stuff. But I mean, a lot of people play conjurer. I'm pretty sure in like the competitive, not competitive, like the top echelon of players run conjurer a lot, I think. Now for like greases and blood poisonings, for the wider community, I think blood poisonings are actually like really bad currently because they reduce your health by too much. And I'm pretty sure it's like the meta to only run it if you're running all 4, because that's the most efficient. But that's like 50% of your HP, and you can't even run 1 and just get decent, because that's 30%. So it seems like it'd be useless to run 1, and really only okay if you're running 4. But like, that's a lot of HP gone, and that's your base HP as well, I'm pretty sure. But I think greases are actually really good, especially for people who play like non-sunken warrior or warlords in general, because those outside of sunkens, basically everything in the game is really easy to obtain weapons wise, so you can really experiment and find what fits your groove. But for greases, the 2 types of meta is like DOTs, which are like burning, melting, and corroding, which are I'm pretty sure burning's actually the worst. My friend said that to me. So I'd say melting and corroding are like the best. But melting, I'm not sure how much melting reduces it by. I think melting reduces it by a lot, actually, your damage. But corroding is 10%. Poison sucks now, though, because it got nerfed, and now it's like at like 25%, I think, minus damage. And then for paralysis, paralyzed, it's 10%, slowness, it's 10%, and like snowy, I heard from a conjurer friend of mine, and from a video, so I'm pretty sure this is correct. And yeah, I just heard that about like snowy is 5%, and I think there's some on my other page for the script. Hold on. That's backwards. Sorry, guys. I'm just gonna yap for a second while I try to find this. Oh yeah, okay. I found my thing for melting. Melting is 12.5. Freezing is 10%, I think. Did I mention burnings earlier? Wait, did I mention melting or scorched? Burning is 10. Oh, scorched is 10. And yeah, that's really about it. Welcome to the meat of the video. Now, you've either been eagerly waiting this part probably, or just skipped here. So, stats. The big thing. What's the meta? What's up to you? And what's just downright bad? The meta appears to be centered around the base stats, the two main stats, power and defense. I'm not sure if this has really changed over time. I think there was a time where there was like a heavy meta on mostly substats or like secondary stats. However, in this new update, size has been nerfed, and it's not a big nerf, right? If you're a warlord, you're still probably gonna run a lot of size, or yeah, you can just run size still. However, you're gonna need to invest a bit more, and it's just a little worse, right? However, that doesn't mean much. As for the main thing that got nerfed, the main thing that's bad now is armor piercing. Armor piercing, I'm pretty sure, used to be the meta, but I think it's strength. It's like powerfulness. I have no real good way to describe it, so I'm just gonna say it's strength. Got chopped in half. I think it went down from 50% on NPCs to 25%, and I don't think it was ever any good in PvP, but I think it kind of lost its own niche. As for resistance, again, I think it's just downright bad. I don't think it really will have, or it has ever had, a good spot in the PvP meta, but it really depends. It might be worth looking into. Like, I think it could be kind of cool if it was good, but I don't think that will happen, nor do I think it currently is. Now for dexterity, or whatever I've been calling it for the whole video, attack speed. I think it's really up to you. If you have like good ping and stuff, it should be good, but I don't really generally have good ping, because I play in a area with not a whole lot of like servers that go back to it, and even the ones that are in my region just are far away, so my ping normally isn't like the greatest, and that makes it feel like I'm running a good bit, not the most. However, I'm definitely running some on my build currently, and it doesn't seem to have really any effect on my startup or end lag. And I think it's generally an optimization issue with the game and Roblox itself, because there are some times where I'll cast a move mid-fight, and they'll still be casting moves to the opponent, my enemy, and they're just gonna do a bunch of damage while mine either doesn't get casted and I can't cast a move for some reason, or I get stuck in an animation, and I don't think it's me lagging, because most of the times I'm not lagging. Right? They can move, I can move, they're attacking, and I just think it's like an issue with ping. Right? I don't think, especially for stuff like Conj and Warrior, I don't think there's really any big reason to use it. But for something like something with a lot more and lag and startup, maybe Mage could use it, maybe Oracle could use it. I'm not sure though. I think it's just ping dependent, so it's really up to you. As for range, the other one, I think range could be quite good for like overworld combat. For Elysium, I think it'd be decent, but I think it'd mainly be really good for chasing people down in the overworld, or if you're trying to play with like guns. And I think, like, I have a really good idea for a gun build that could take advantage of like maybe haste, maybe dexterity, and maybe range, and just power and stuff, and just like get somewhat near people and just shred them down. But I haven't really gone to test that build yet, so I think that'd be okay, and I think that'd be like the only time range would be kind of good, like if you either having trouble with like knowing what range your things are from, or having trouble with runners. So yeah, I think that range is, again, a subjective stat that I don't think is super important. but it could be interesting to test out. As for regen, I haven't really played with regen. It looks like it's an okay stat to use, but I don't think it's really worth it, because the amount you get for the amount you invest, like of EP and stuff, I'm not really thinking about EP when I make builds most of the time. Because, yeah, while it's an easy way to calculate if something's good, there are things like the, an archaic explosive size amulet, and that's just like 150 EP or something. And I don't think secondary stats are worth 1 EP, in my opinion, especially in this update. Most of them are not. So I just don't really look at that. However, if we're talking about EP, most of the stats I've talked about right now, the amount, like the quality you're getting back for the amount of EP invest, just is not it. And it's not worth it to go like 150 armor piercing, I don't think, when you could just go more on power. Or like 200 or 300 armor piercing. You could easily get a lot more power or just damage outright overall for the same like investment of EP into that armor piercing, right? And I'm not sure if that'd be like an exact conversion, right? 300 armor piercing, you get 100 power in exchange. I don't think that's the case. I think it's a worse exchange, but I still feel as though it'd be a better trade-off, especially for PvP. I don't think AP or armor piercing has ever been good in PvP. Sorry for that tangent. But yeah, no, I don't think regen's great, but if you're making a build or that is something you really want to build around, I think that could be okay. As for haste, I think haste sounds really, really intriguing, like one of the most interesting special stats, secondary stats, because reducing cooldowns could be really annoying for some builds to have, like having a high damage conjurer do like a metal imbue conjurer, Jiminy Crickets, with high power have like fast attacks. Sounds an awful experience to fight, because that'd be so much just impact damage over and over and bleed. But I think it could be interesting to. I haven't tested haste yet, really, so again, can't really speak on that like regen. However, could be worth looking into. But yeah, overall, in size, I forgot to mention size. Size is obviously good. I mean, I kind of mentioned it earlier, like you can run it and stuff. I'm not sure about like the optimal investment currently. However, if you're running like Warlord or Oracle, run size. That's about all I'm gonna say else on size. And now to jewel crafting. Quick stop on jewel crafting before we get into like the best gear and how to make it into the best gear it can possibly be for you. Jewel crafting is really important in this update, because you can make it so for every Atlantean essence, you can easily get 13 power out of every single one if you have max jewel crafting, and you can get more stats, right? You can run more range, or more haste, or more whatever you want to run, and 13 power off your Atlantean essence with 2 jewel crafting slots. Gem slots. You don't even need like gilded or whatever, or the thing that gives you 3 on its own. You can just do it with 2 jewel slots, like on every piece of gear, and it's really good. And right now is like the best time to grind it out. It's 2x weekend. Everyone already knows that. If you're not maxing your jewel crafting, you're missing out. In Noon, I guess, his Discord, he's also like helping people get gems if they can't max it out, or just are choosing not to. And obviously, I'd assume there's a price to it. But just go in the Discord to ask for some help. He'll probably come help you out, give you the gems. But still, obviously, go for them. And you can also get like a really good amulet, because it gives 5 jewel slots, and that can be made into like your own custom pendant thing, amulet. And you can make like the Pay Knight amulet that Noon, I guess, also used in his video on like the highest defense build, and it gives like 1,000 HP, I'm pretty sure, off one accessory. So that's kind of absurd, but it takes a lot of drawback. And then for the best gear. Now on to the best gear, I guess. And the best gear is, I'm just going to kind of talk about EP, but I'm also not going to talk about EP much in this part. Omen is good, because it gives, like, highest defense, obviously. I wouldn't recommend running more than one piece, though, because then you're going to be heavily missing out on power. So, oh yeah, I finally figured out how to say it. It's Sofragos. Sofragos is good, and Omen's good, and they kind of cancel each other out. However, I'd say 1 Omen is good, and like 2 Sofragos is really good. So the pieces you run are really up to you. But yeah, then other stuff like the Kraken Band is decent. Kraken Band's decent. Amelia's Cloak is decent. Like the one dropped by the Nimbus C variation of Commodore Kai, the one at Silverhold, her like cloak or whatever. That's also decent. I think I heard there's an armor set called like Apex, and it's from like I think it's from White Eyes. I have no real idea on that, but I heard that's decent. It's kind of like a middle ground, gives okay defense, and some okay power. And that might be good to work on for like a middle ground build. Obviously amulets are good as always. You could run something like a armored defense thing. I'm not sure if that's really good though, because of like the custom amulet thing and just Omen armor existing. And you could like run obviously a powerful blasted power amulet and get like 65 power out of that thing, which is just absurd, right? Or you could run really any pendant or amulet of your choice. Gilded titanium armor, again mentioned in the tankiest build video, is really good as well, because high base defense and then 3 jewel slots. So yeah. And yeah, that's about all I can say for armor, really. I don't know if there's any other things that I'm at. Like, I guess Sunken Iron and Sunken Warrior are decent. Like, they're obviously gonna be meta, because like defense and then dexterity for in the case of Sunken Warrior, and in the case of Sunken Iron, maybe Warlord still run it, but I'm not quite sure. And yeah, oh yeah, for jewels I should make a note on this. For jewels you can make like the passives are really up to you. However, I'd say the best ones are probably agility, breath capacity, like underwater, because oh my god, you can camp now. There's like, I made a build that was really funny because I could just like stay underwater for a trillion years now, using swim or whatever they're called, oxygen things. I don't know. Movement speed out of combat sounds decent as a gem passive. Like, just going faster sounds good. And then potion effect duration, which I think I saw a video on about greases not being affected by it, whatever. But that seems like it could be good if you're using potions like Iron Skin or like power potions, because I think those are a thing still. Not sure if anyone uses them, but like they're a thing. I saw some. Yeah, that could be good. Now, how to actually make your armor good is like simple. Get your enchant, get your combination of armor. Right. For example, you could run something like a like 3 pieces, so Fragos, and a blasted powerful power amulet, and a omen cloak, and that'd be like really high power, good defenses, like 400 defense. Or you could run something like 2 pieces sunken, so Fragos, a Kraken banner like Amelia's cloak, and a pendant of your choice, and just right like focus on your 2 main stats. And then there is one thing I will say, that despite secondary stats not being like the main thing you should focus on, I don't think, I'd say all builds should have like an X factor. And what do I mean when I say X factor? I mean like having an absurd amount of range, having some haste, having some regen, something that isn't just power and defense, can be very good, even if you're not super focused on it, right? Only dedicating some jewels to it, not your enchants, not your armor to it. It can still enhance a build quite a bit, right? And I think that's both one of the most known and most overlooked things about gear making at the same time, right? A lot of people will either go all in on their X factor and have it be like the whole thing to build around, or it will be something completely forgotten. And I feel like it just needs to be a good balance. But yeah, that's basically all I can say for build making and stuff. And yeah. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.